Hey, hey, live with Shaman. Live with a couple of shamans, it would appear. Hope everybody's doing well. Say hello.
Good morning.
Guess Cindy went AFK for a minute.
Yes, you did.
Well, that's alright. Welcome back, Live with the Shaman. We're going to, of course, get the disclaimers out of the way. We are an adult channel. Um, we may say things on this channel that may not always be politically correct. We may use language you don't necessarily want to hear. Uh-oh. Ah, well. That's alright. Don't want
Well,
the kid.
damn.
Right. Also, like we broadcast in Open Bacon Church this morning, we have a sponsor. And I'm going to kind of go over that sponsor for just a moment. Left monitor, no text, here we go. And I get the damn thing to quit flickering, there we go. If you play Conan Exiles, you will want to check out the server below. And it is Loki's Playground. It's a PvP environment on Loki's Playground. And I need to move my damn picture up out of the way. There we go. So that you guys can see the Discord server. And it is NPC resource respawn rate fast, whatever the hell that is. Keep loot on death. I think they call it keep on death is the shortness of it. Double stamina, I think. Double stamina is what that means. 10x boosted server. Active admins around, and map rooms at every obelisk. And if you're interested in checking it out, they do require you to register on Discord. The registration link is below my picture. Of course, it would appear during Open Pagan Church I didn't have sense enough to raise my picture up out of the way, so I just simply moved out of the way. Oh well. Welcome to Live with the Shaman, what can I say? Onward and upward, back to the grind and back to the mind, as it were. Shaman's melding energies is our topic for today. Who came up with that topic?
Plant.
Me.
Plant. What are you talking about? Melding, shaman melding energies. Go for it. What are we talking about here?
Okay. During a ritual, there's times when you have to meld energies together of the different practitioners that are in the circle. It's a balancing thing that shamans can do. Sometimes we have difficulties with it, but you're trying to balance different aspects like a druid or witch or just different ones that are in there. They all want to contribute, but they all have different kinds of energies. So you have to balance it out, meld it together so it's easier to deal with for everybody instead of getting what we call the writ hangover or the writ uh, wonkies.
Well, yeah, and you're absolutely right. One of the things that I had to learn early on, of course, I didn't have a human teacher, so I just had to deal with it, was in an open circle. And the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, we have very seldom ever had a closed circle where it was only allowed to the Grove. We did that because we're kind of an open tradition. We want people to know what the Grove of the Celtic Shaman is about. And that was one of the things that I always taught my first years as they come on board was you have to learn to balance all of these energies. And pretty much the only way you're going to learn it is to do it because it's not something you can actually be taught. Um, isn't that right, Clint? Cindy?
Oh
I,
yeah.
oh yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It really is a good thing because it also teaches you to deal with situations in public.
Oh, buddy.
You know, um, as shaman, we tend to sometimes think of things a little differently. Each of us might have a little bit different moral latitude than someone else, and that's fine. Even in amongst shamans, in amongst different groves and groups of shamans and what have you, you're going to find slightly different moral philosophies, moralistic philosophies, than you may find in another group. And in the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, we we don't dictate moral philosophy. It's not our job. You may go to do something, and I may ask you if you've lost your fucking mind, but at the end of the day, we're all adults. And we're going to do what we're going to do, and each of us have to pay our own price. So the melding of energies is pretty much just that. You know, it's like Clint said. When you're in a circle and you're working with a circle of people, or even a group of people in a public speaking situation where you're talking about shamanism and the different variables of it, you're going to be getting zinged and pinged by every practitioner that's in the audience, and even some of those that are not practitioners that have no idea what to do with their own energy. Those are always fun. There were a number of times we would call circle on a Sabbath or just an energy raising or just a fun weekend of drumming, if you will, and we wanted to do an energy raising. Well, I'm not going to try to manifest a witch's energy or change that energy. If I'm calling the circle, if I'm at the conducting end of the circle, I'm going to try to balance that so that we're all corresponding to the same intent, if you will, and sending that energy either up to the cosmos or down to the mother, one of the two.
Well, that's like when you're teaching us. I remember, I will not forget my first circle I had to melting the energies, balancing the energies. Did I get a whopping headache because we had witches in there, we had shamans in there, and I knew we had a dark shaman in there that was messing with me. Because with our with our shaman training, you are teaching us how to balance. I mean, when someone melting with energies, is it with the individual? Is it with the group? Is it with the cosmos? Can't really do the cosmos, but you can help sometimes.
Well, yeah, and I mean it all comes down to keeping things in some semblance of a balance so that the intent of the circle is not lost. The intent of the ritual is not lost. Um, when people have heard me talk about balancing of the circle before, and I've always found it rather interesting that most of the practitioners that would come into our circle the first time, they would be like, "What are you talking about? Energy's energy." Well, yeah, you're right. Energy is energy, but everybody uses that energy differently. Some people just broadcast it like a submachine gun might broadcast gunfire, uh, fragmentation grenade, and it goes everywhere. Some people want to use just focus broadcast down to the point energy at a particular person or subject or issue or object. Um, some people throw the energy out there and it's kind of chaotic because they've never been taught to hone that energy for the benefit of the whole, if you will. And I hesitate to use the term controlled energy because that gives way to the connotation that we're into actually controlling the energy. Well, by definition, I guess we are. But by action, we want to allow that energy to be what it is, but we want to manipulate it slightly within circle so that everybody's on the same page. Now, if you guys will remember, we also did pre-writ conversation, where in the pre-ritual, we usually were sitting around having a feast, and whoever the leader of the circle was for that night would explain and describe the intent and what we're going to be doing and why we're going to be doing it. Well, what this does is this puts in everybody's mind, why am I here? I found the several times that, when I first started out, I didn't do pre-writ. Never thought about it. And I would bounce off in the circle and we would have feast and drumming, and I would say, okay, we're gonna line up outside a circle and we're going to march into circle, and we're going to go 3 times around to build the positive energy, and then everybody's just going to kind of filter in on their post. That's pretty much the only thing I would tell anybody, because we would know that we would have pagans, atheists, Christians.
If they just popped into the group. Hi, Thomas.
Fays like to pop in and out. Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, it would come down to, not necessarily trying to control said energy, but working with it. Manipulating it just enough so that everyone's on the same page. And they're right. Clint absolutely is right. If you've ever woken up the next morning after a ritual with ritual hangover, that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
As you become more comfortable with calling circle, irregardless of your path, my understanding, as you become more comfortable with calling circle, writ hangovers aren't quite so bad.
Now with me, I'm opposite. You know me. After ritual, the next morning, I'm hyper. I'm up at crack of dawn and I'm out at circle just flitting around there like crazy on high. I'm like hyper.
Yeah, me, all I want to do is have my coffee and be very quiet.
Yep. I remember those days. Remember the training we used to do?
Training
bring up
rituals.
circle. Oh boy. And then when the high priest or what, we train them with the priest and we go in inside of the circle, trusting their barriers.
Yep. The differences between being able to open and close a metaphysical door of the circle to allow people in and out. I mean, the idea, and this is one of the things that we came up with early on, because I never quite liked the idea of sequestering people to circle regardless of whether they needed a potty or may have other needs. I just never really understood that.
Oh,
So,
look who popped in.
who popped in?
Our sister.
Who popped in? Where?
Scotland.
I guess I didn't see her pop in. See, it doesn't tell me who's popped in and who's there and who's not anymore. Irritates the hell out of me. The new format of for the broadcaster side of Facebook no longer tells you when someone has popped in. It just irritates the hell out of me.
Here's Debbie. Morning, Debbie. Oh, excuse me. Afternoon, Debbie.
Yes, afternoon. Uh, and we're on her phone, so she can't type.
Okay.
So working with those energies when you've got what anywhere between 5 and 100 people standing in circle, and you're calling a ritual, and it's an open circle. Even if it's more or less an open circle to shamans only, which I think we only had one or two of those, but an open circle period, you're allowing people to come in the circle that aren't not necessarily of your same tradition, so they're not going to have been taught how to conduct themselves in a circle like your students have. So one of the good teachings for my students, and would still be today if I had a place to hold a circle, is to put them in a situation where they are required to balance the energy of the circle. And that really helps when you're dealing with life, day-to-day life. Because when you're out in the public forum and you're out in day-to-day life, you may get invited to go to someone else's circle. And if you do, you have to keep that energy neutral, focused on the intent of their circle, not what you think the intent should be. Now for me, that's just plain old respect, for me personally. Have any of you guys ever done other circles other than just the HOP or the GCS? Have you ever attended, since you've been a part of the Grove, have you attended other circles, and how did you act and react?
I haven't done one yet because down here there's not that many.
But in the circles you've held, Clint, haven't you had other people hold circles?
Yes, I've had 2 witches, and then um, well, I had Curtis sort of call one. So yeah, it's been different.
Hello. Who just came? The March Spirit. We got someone in Discord.
I see that.
Can you talk? Is that Thomas?
I don't know.
He just changed his name. Yes, it
Change
is.
his name to Thomas.
Oh, does he have his voice?
Does he have a what?
Well, I also remember the first time you had me call Great God, Goddess, and Great Spirit, and I was frozen on the spot because of the energies from them.
Yeah, they have an interesting way of doing that. But when you're working with other people's energies in circle, like we used to do all the time,
Oh, there's Ben.
what? There he is. Say again?
I had to figure out where the button was.
It helps to
Uh,
find the button.
hey, hey. Okay, Discord, Facebook people. This is Thomas. He is my son.
He may not want to admit that.
Oh, too bad. He's Uncle Clint. Clint is his uncle too.
And also he's fake.
And Dragon.
Yeah, and that being said, we're talking about shamans melding energies. Um, Thomas lended his help several times in training circles, going in and out of circle. Because I know a lot of traditions don't allow people to move in and out of circle. Well, when Thomas and a few others were there that are Fae, were moving in and out of circle, I found it absolutely amazing that there was absolutely no effect or change to the energy of the circle at all. Sally just joined in. Welcome, Sally. So, shaman melding energies, that was kind of an interesting thing because the Fae, I don't know how, I never learned it, I never got it, and I still don't get it today. But the Fae move in and out of circles just like they move in and out of realms with zero effect to the energy at all. And of course, my question was always, how the hell do you do that? Well, the quick answer was, we just do what we do. Okay, fine.
I still don't know how we do it, so you're not the only one confused.
Ah, see? You know, but at the same time, you know, the Fey energy, quite a bit of the Celtic shaman philosophy comes from the Tuatha De Danann, the ancients. Has Fey DNA, I guess you could say, and they go back, way back. Debbie says they're capable of varying their energy just by changing their focus. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. It would explain a lot. Where I know with me, if I'm focused, I like my energy to be constant. I don't like shit to change. I think as I get older, I get worse. But there you go. But I found it not to bobble the circle. Well, when you're shaman and you're calling a circle with multiple different paths in that circle, as we used to do all the time, and still can, there are some energies we simply don't have to worry about. Yeah, thanks, Deb. She informed me that my energy wobbles around all of the time. Old horse.
Your energy doesn't wobble. Well,
Ah,
no.
that depends.
Depends on what you're doing and what your moods are. Everybody's energy does things.
Yeah, well, you know. But dealing with that in a circle, and you know, we've probably got about another couple of minutes on this topic. But the important part when you're calling a circle and you've invited people to that circle, you've put yourself in a place of responsibility. Okay? If you're calling the circle and you've invited the people to the circle and you're calling that circle, you've invited that responsibility upon yourself to make sure that that energy stays relatively stable. Now, there are times where you've got people or kids, gotta love kids, um, that are running around. I've never had their energy really affect the circle in one way or the other than positive, good kid energy that run amok. It's what kids do. Young adults and teenagers, I would tend to look at them rather harshly because they should know better. Stand fast, keep your mouth shut, and enjoy the circle, or step out. It's that
Had
simple.
had those before.
Yeah, yeah. And you're going to have new people that have absolutely no clue of circle etiquette, circle protocol. And that was, and going back to the purpose of the pre-writ, the pre-ritual. The pre-writ was to describe and explain and talk about the things that were going to happen, the expectations, what we wanted to see happen, and what the proposed outcome of the circle was, and the expectations of what we would do when we entered circle. So at the end of the day, shamans, and I know we're not the only path that does this, so I'm not even saying that. Shamans meld and work with energies on a 24/7 basis. When we're out in public, um, energies are seriously chaotic in public 90% of the time. So we make a decision to either deal with those energies, shield them, which shielding takes energy, or just let them be. Most of the time, I just let them be. I ignore them because they're going to do what they're going to do. And Rachel says, I miss circle. Yeah, so do I. I miss the gatherings and the food. Oh, food was good.
I miss the gatherings with my brother down here.
Yeah. So, I
Like,
mean, yeah, go ahead.
no, don't want to go there. I get depressed.
But, yeah, Clint says we all miss circle. But at the same time, in these tumultuous times, as we'll put it, we're all doing our own thing. But we're meeting online like this, and luckily my internet did come back up, hopefully long enough to get a good closeout on this broadcast. Internet was down until about 10 minutes before broadcast, so I had to really jump through hoops to get things ready. But, we need to keep the communication up. We need to keep the energy up. Mother Earth is doing some interesting healing while humans are sequestered to their homes. This is actually a good thing, not that we're sequestered to our homes, but Mother Earth is really doing some major healing, and as pagan, we really like that. So, what do we think? Clint, do you have any closing remarks on Shaman's melding energy?
Um, Melding the energies is not easy, but it's also easy at the same time. You just need to relax and don't try to overthink or overdo anything because, like you said, the intent is there and you have to balance that. You can't really focus on anything one point like a lot of people do. With our practice, ours is a generalized, neutral way.
Just kind of let things be what they are. Um, Anybody else have anything they want to put in?
just dealing with melting of energies. Be careful what you do with energies, because some people have bad energies out there that can be harmful to individuals.
It's with anywhere you go, you know. The good, the bad, and the neutral.
Well, if we have a newbie listening to this and they go out there and say, there's energies out there, I'm going to play with it, they might get hurt. Never know.
Well, you know, karma's a bitch. And, you know, for newcomers that are looking into shamanism and newcomers that are even looking into paganism, um, remember number one rule, karma can be a bitch. Okay? Shamans don't follow the harm none. We believe in respect. We don't set out to hurt anyone. But we also firmly believe that, what is it they say? You reap what you sow, so to speak. Right. Well, guys, that's about it. I want to wish everyone to be very safe. Take care of yourself, your families, and each other. And hey, get online and chat it up. We all get a little lonely sometimes through these questionable times, if you will. But it's all going to be all right. Mother Earth's going to do what she does, and people are going to do what they do, and we'll come out in the end. It always does. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we hope you enjoyed another broadcast of Live with the Shaman. And we'll see you next time, right here.